I am very excited because today is the day I'm starting to record my gardening journey. I set up the camera and microphone to start talking about the garden. Then I realized the window in the background is dirty, so I decided to quickly wipe the window down. I went into the kitchen to take cleaning stuff from the cupboard. I saw the jug and I was like, oh, a cup of tea. I grabbed my cup of tea and went for a wander around the property to think about what I want to film. I was devastated to see so many weeds everywhere. I thought this does not look good. I will pull the weeds out so it looks beautiful in the video. I went looking for my gardening gloves and weed puller. By the time I found them, I was overheated, so I decided to go down the road for a quick swim. I was driving and looking around to find a nice swimming hole. Then I remembered that I wanted to swim in this beautiful waterfall, which is only 45 minutes away. So I decided to make the most out of it and go there. It was such a nice swim. I'm going to be full of energy when I go back home. When I arrived back home, I decided to scroll on my social media platform because I have FOMO. After scrolling for a couple of hours, my phone battery ran out, so I could not use it for filming anymore. Well, that was not exaggerated. I've been wanting to make this video for many, many years, but it never happened because every time I want to start filming, something different happens, and that is an excuse for me to delay. I'm gonna do it tomorrow, right? So today I accepted the fact that I'm a type of person that need a plan to follow to make something happen. Otherwise, it'll never happen. That's right. So I made a structure. I wrote a structure to follow, and here it goes. The first episode of Garden Journey. And this video has three main parts. The first part is the history about myself and my husband and how we became the guardians of this amazing property. The second part, I'm going to show different parts of the property and gardens and where we are at the moment. And the third part, I'm going to talk briefly about our goals and my goals. So my husband and I goal together, what we want to do with this property, and my goal especially with these videos. So stay with me until the end of this video because there's quite a bit that I want to fit in this video. Now let's start with history. My name is Bahare. I'm originally from Iran. I moved to New Zealand in October 2011, and I met Matt, my Kiwi husband, in December 2015. In July 2016, we bought a house together in Waikino. It was an amazing property. It was half an acre with a very productive vegetable garden and incredible soil for growing stuff. We got married in February 2019, and in October 2019, we bought this property together. This property is 2 hectares. It is a mountain. When we bought it, there was a container with half a shed for storage. There were bits of flat land that the previous owner dug by a digger. There was a driveway, mainly gravel and sticky clay, a water tank, and there was a box with electrical connection. So when we first got this property, because we had already sold our house, we quickly put a tent up here where the house is now. And for a long 6 weeks, we were living in the tent while we were building a cabin at the bottom of the property. During that 6-week time when we were building the cabin, we were both working full time as well. I was working from home, which was a tent. And then we closed in the cabin. We moved into the cabin. It wasn't finished at all, but it was in a state that we could put a bed, a sofa, and move into it. So we're not in a tent anymore. And we started completing it while we were living in it. And by the time we almost finished the cabin, COVID happened and New Zealand went into the lockdown. During the lockdown, I concentrated on drawing for our house, which is the one behind me. and Matt started building a storage shed for storing building materials. So once the lockdown finished, we submitted our application for building consent. And once we received it, we started building the house, which took about a year, just over a year. We were both, again, working full time during the whole process, and we were building after work and during the weekend. We had massive help from my father-in-law, who is a builder, so that helped a lot. Since we finished building the house, we developed patches of gardens in different parts of the property. The good thing with this property is it is mostly native bush and it doesn't need maintenance, much maintenance. Um, but we are still at the kind of the start of the gardening journey with this property. We haven't done much. I think that is enough about this history, and now I'm going to show you different parts of the property and the garden. Now let's start with the house and the area surrounding the house. This is the main place that we spend most of our time. So it is the first priority for me to work on it. We have a massive driveway that side. We wanted to have a big driveway so we can drive a big truck up here and for a car and trailer and be able to turn around. The driveway doesn't really have much maintenance apart from pulling the odd weeds that grow in the gravel. I don't like spraying, so I just pull the weeds out while they're still small. This area in front of the deck is very important to us. We want to keep it open. We don't have tall plants in here because we don't want to block the awesome bush view that we have in front of the house. The fire pit is my favorite. I built it in December 2023. I don't like mowing lawns, so I've been trying to set up a carpet time lawn here, which doesn't need mowing. It's somehow been working, but not in the way that I've been thinking. It's been growing for the last 4 years, and it's still not where I want it to be. So I have some plans for it, which I will probably tell about my plans in the next video, not this one. On this side of the house, we have two raised gardens. They are 2 meter by 1 meter each and about 600 high. We mainly grow our vegetables in these two gardens. Unfortunately, last summer we did not plant anything, but we got a self-seeded tomato and a self-seeded pumpkin and a parsley in this garden, which is good. I've been picking tomatoes for a few weeks now. This is the very first garden that I built once we finished the house, and I built the gardens out of the leftover scaffolding materials that we had after building the house. And this arc here is built out of a reinforcing concrete mesh, and I have grown lots of vegetables over it during the past few years, not much this year, but I'll show you some of the photos of the last year's produce over this arc. It was really interesting. Sorry, I lied. I actually planted something this summer. So I planted that cucumber seedling there, which has a few cucumbers on it, which is really cute. Also, what I do is when I get given plants, I put them in this garden temporarily until I find a permanent place for them. For example, this lily was given to me by Christine from Fitianga, and these magenta springs were given to me by Joe from Green Hills Paradise. This garden at the back of the house is one of my other favorites. I really like this garden. Matt built it in November 2022. It is a very successful garden because of the way it's been set up. So what Matt did is when he built the raised garden, he put all the clippings and pruning of the tea trees at the bottom. Then he put back of the medium that he was growing oyster mushroom in them back then. There are lots of those bags, and then he topped it up with the high quality topsoil from the nursery. The other thing he's done is he put an irrigation system, so it is kind of like a drip line, but the drippers, they expand when they get too hot, and then they start watering the plants. So we never need to water this garden. It is mainly herbs and strawberries. The herbs are mostly perennial, or if they are annual, the type of annual that they self-seed and grow again by themselves, like parsley and coriander. This garden honestly made us self-sufficient with herbs. We never need to buy herbs. And the only need we need to do for this garden is every now and then we need to trim it, uh, and because they just grow big. But then we put all the trimming of the herbs in the dehydrator and keep them for our cooking. In this part of the garden, I put 3 dwarf fruit trees. One of them is Mayer lemon, the other one is blood orange, and I've also planted a peach tree. Unfortunately, the Mayer lemon and the blood orange aren't doing well at all. We had quite a few lemons in the first year that I planted them, but it's not doing well anymore. I need to give them a little bit of care and love. And there are also some random flowers and succulents, but generally it needs some TLC to make it look good again. Where I'm standing now is a little bit lower than the house. In our driveway, there's a shed behind me where we keep our quad bikes and some tools, and there's a track next to it, which Matt dug it with a digger in August 2024. It is about 200 meters long, and it goes into a big flat open area, which I'm going to take you with me now. This here is a big area that has a quad bike access, and it's the perfect place to put a greenhouse or two and plant some fruit trees to make an orchard. There are some springs in the bush over there, which we think we can harvest the water and use it for irrigation here. Where I'm standing right now is the middle floor of our property. There's a storage shed here, somewhere to store our firewood as well. There's a tiny type of garden over there, but apart from that, there's not much happening here. Here is where we lived for over a year before, and when we were building the house, this is our cabin. There's a mini fruit orchard on this side with about 12 fruit trees and bushes. We have banana, we have a couple of fig trees, we have a Louisa plum, a peach tree, a couple of guavas, Mayer lemon, probably dead pomegranate. Apart from the dead pomegranate, the fruit orchard is doing well. It doesn't really need much maintenance at the moment because the trees are at a stage that they don't need watering anymore. We keep the weeds because they keep the moisture and they're not hurting the trees. The driveway itself is being taken over by paspalum, which is not a very good thing. So I need to do something about it. It is even hard to walk here right now, but this part of the property we don't really come here. The cabin gets used by our family and friends probably a couple of times a year, and that's all about it. There's a type of garden on this side, but that's also been taken over by tea trees. Again, because this is somewhere that we don't really come. This is my last priority at the moment. I have thought about finding a use for the cabin so I can come here and have an excuse to maintain it. But then that means more maintenance, more time, which I don't have that at the moment. Now let's talk about the goal. So Matt and I both like to become self-sufficient with food one day. We might be quite a bit far away from that goal now, but whatever we do, the planning and the planting will be based on moving towards something like a food forest, permaculture, and lots of edible plants. What I want to achieve with these videos is I'd like to keep the record of the progress so we can always come back and see how far we've come with the progress, and B, hopefully I'll expand this channel into a helpful, useful channel that other people will be inspired by, and it will grow, and one day I can do this as a main job instead of a hobby. So that is my final goal, and I hope I get there one day. So thank you for staying with me until the end of this video. Let me know what you think about our property and our garden and how we can make this place into an amazing place. If you enjoyed the content, please like the video and share it around so more people can watch it. And that way you help me to get closer to my goal.